Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and we are back with another Gundam card game video. So today I'm going to be going over my list for red, white, ping, and yeah, I think it's actually the only real control deck in the game. As I get through this, for you guys on the member side, I will be putting up games for the additional games for the green, almost mono green Zeon deck list I had earlier, and then throughout this upcoming week I'm going to see if I can get some games for this deck, because I will be going to Texas for Dragon Ball Super Fusion World Nationals. But with that being said, like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you want to join in on the fun, the action that is the Gundam card game content that I drop here. And then if you want to go a step further, you can always join the membership. Only 99 cents a month for you, but it all adds up to me. It helps the brand stay afloat and really just kind of eases things around here. You get access to videos as soon as I upload them, not when they're scheduled. You get access to exclusive content, and yeah, we also have contests. This one, or contest giveaways, this one actually ends in 2 days, like today and tomorrow, the last day that you can comment on that members only post to be entered in for a drawing to be one of 3 lucky winners to win an ST06 starter deck for Clan Unity. So that out of the way, let's get into the deck. Okay, so a lot of you guys may have the question, why did I decide to play this deck? And it's honestly because I wanted to switch up in playstyle. I am typically a mid-range player. Like I naturally, I'm an aggressive player. I like aggro and tempo, but over time, because of mid-range's ability to fight aggro but also be able to be a little quicker than late game control, I tend to gravitate towards mid-range decks that can be aggressive. That's me. I'm a tempo player. However, when it comes to this game, it's kind of like a really bad polarity right now, in my opinion. Mid-range decks suffer, and you have the hyper-aggressive decks and the hyper-stall decks just sitting here, pretty much owning the game right now. So I wanted to play something that just gave me something to do, something to say on my opponent's turns. Like, I just wanted to play a deck that felt fun. That's really it. So I decided to play this deck because this is what I view as pretty much the only true control deck of the game. When people say control in this game, I don't understand, because control in this game so far is just play blockers and turtle, and then once you get to wing 0, you can start playing cards that destroy your opponent's cards. Every now and then you'll get like a wing Gundam breach. But I feel like control is when your opponent has to ask permission, when they have to attack and go, any response? Play something. Any response? And I think that is true control, and that is why I actually feel like this deck is the closest we get to that in this game. So first we're going to start off with the blocker suite. This isn't going to be a surprise to anybody, but it may actually be a surprise on the general amount. So we've got 3 Zawarts. Sorry for that glare. I really need to fix how to do this with my light, because yeah, okay, so it really is that light. Let me just do this real quick. So yeah, so you have Zawart, and it didn't really help, did it? I'll fix it at some point. You have Zawart, and I have him at 3. He was originally at 4, but I had to make room for a striker pack later on, so you'll kind of see that in this. But Zawart is one of your turn 2 plays. He comes out right on curve on 2, whether you're going first or second, so that makes him good. He does pretty much die if he blocks, and that's unfortunate, and he can attack shields or bases, so a little unfortunate, but at the end of the day he does what he's supposed to do, and that is being played on curve and providing a stopgap towards aggression. Next we have Rick Diaz, and the Rick Diaz is the newcomer of the gang. Rick Diaz is a 3/3, so he can not only block a 2/2 and survive, he can block a Roselle and trade, or a Hyakurin and trade, which is just very, very good in general, so we have to play that. And then we've got the other queen. We've got Ilfrith. Ilfrith is just the 2/4. This can block 2 2/2s, but it can't trade with a Hyakurin or a Roselle, so you kind of have the stat lines kind of proving themselves to be more or less efficient in other places. Now here you have 3 of Haman Karn's Gaza C. This is just very, very important because you need bodies to be able to poke. When paired with Haman, you can get rid of small bodies as well, and that's going to be something we bring up later when we start talking about the links and whatnot. I've got 2 of the Kshatriya vanillas, and those are just gonna pretty much go hard when you just can't play the big Kshatriya. Realistically, having a 5-6 or 5-5 that's just gonna poke over and over again and burn anything for one that has 4 or less level is going to be something that I think a lot of people underestimate, but realistically it's always been good. That's why we stay playing that vanilla. But speaking of Kshatriya, we do have to play 4 of the big Kshatriya. You guys know this is a red staple and pretty much one of the best cards in the game, I still think. But you're going to be able to play Kshatriya out, link it with Merida, ping 2 things, swing, ping something else provided it's equal to or less than this unit's level. So that's going to be pretty good in general. You spread out a lot of damage that way. Important fact here is that when paired, new type or cyber new type. So there's going to be a lot of ways to get that when paired effect off, and we're going to be able to pretty much slot any one of our pilots into that. Now here we have 2 Sinanju. I will say overall, Sinanju is probably the thing that needs to go up to 3. I think that I'm going to switch the ratios around a little bit, but Sinanju, I wanted to see Sinanju every single game, and so Sinanju definitely needs to go up to 3. But Sinanju is important because it has high maneuver and starts pinging things for 2. Pinging things for 2 opens them up to all sorts of other effects, and the high maneuver makes sure that you always have that straight shot towards shields and then or a base, and then on top of that you get to ping something for 2. So yeah, Sinanju probably needs to go up to 3. That is my only complaint. And when it comes down to that, I think that Cubile over here is the card that needs to go down to 2. So just this switch right here, but we'll see about it. We'll see about it. We might be able to find another space to take it out. But yeah, so you've got this right here. Cubile is pretty strong. You're going to be able to have suppression the first turn it's linked, and then on top of that you get to ping something for 2 every single turn that that's damage every time it attacks every turn. Now I have found that when linked, if you have any combination of these 2 out, you pretty much take over the game, because you're either dealing 2 damage across the board and then swinging and pinging for 1. After you ping for 1, you're pinging for 2, or after you're pinging for 1, you're pinging for 2, or after you ping for 2, you ping for 2. Like, no matter what, any 2 of these on the board linked is going to provide entire bodies dead each turn while you're just swinging at shields. So I think that's pretty cool. In terms of bases, right now I just run 4 Guadin. I think a lot of people are still sleeping on this card. I love it. You get a card from your shields, and then after getting a card from your shields, you're going to be able to get a card. You choose whether or not you want to discard a red card and then draw a card. This is the closest thing to Show of Resolve that we have in red, and I promise you, Guadin will keep your hand as healthy as possible. And this deck, with these 2 colors, does have a problem with having to top deck, but Guadin is the biggest answer you have to maintaining advantage. You establish a base to protect the rest of your shield, you get a card from your shield, and then you can, if you so choose, discard a card to see your next card. And so yeah, in a combo heavy deck like this, it's just necessary. Drop a dead piece, hopefully pick up a live one. Then you've got 4 Merida. We all know Merida is a baddie. Merida just, +2/+1, level 4 pilot. You do have the ability to, during link, you're just going to be able to, every time it attacks, ping something with level equal to or less than what you got on board, which you can link it with Kshatriya, and you can link it with, Kshatriya. But at the same time, I do want to say, the way this deck is made, and the most beautiful thing about it, right, is that all of my pilots work with pretty much all of my red units. Merida Cruz only links with Kshatriya and Kshatriya, but she still will get the win paired effect with Hamon's Gaza. She will get the win pair effect when with Sinanju, and she will get the win pair Neo Zeon effect with just Hamon, well, the Cubile, and the Cubile will be able to ping things when damaged. So that's pretty cool. And then following that up, you also have the Hamon Karn. And the Hamon Karn is going to be cool because when it is paired to anything, you'll ping something for 1. With equal to or less than this unit. So you'll deal 1 damage to it. So Hamon is going to link with Hamon Karn's Gaza C and the Cubile, right? But Hamon Karn can indeed trigger the new type, cyber new type thing on here. So if you pair him on Karn with this, you're still doing 3 damage that turn. You just won't be able to attack, which is going to be pretty cool. So you're still doing 3 damage. So the first turn she comes out, she can actually equal Marita's ping for that turn, which is a very nice interaction. And then she can also, of course, pair with Sinanju, and when paired, you're going to get that high maneuver. So once again, you have a card or a pilot with 2 links, but synergy across the board with everything here. And then the last but not least, you have full frontal, which may go up to 3 if I can just switch these around. And full frontal is pretty cool. +2/+2 is always a crazy stat line to have. Full frontal will also be able to do the same thing. He only links with the Sinanju, which is why it's 2 and 2, and like I said, this may need to go up more. But he still gets the new type, cyber new type here, link with Kshatriya. He still is going to be able, or pair with Kshatriya effect. He still gets to pair as Neo Zeon with Cubile and get that damage. And then the ability to play something out. He has 5 targets in the deck to play out for free. Could be more, but yeah, that's a problem for a future deck build. But yeah, all 3 of these pilots have synergy with all the red units, and I love that. I love that so much. Now, when it comes to the commands, I think this is pretty standard. We got 4 Overflowing Affection, draw 2, discard 1, just going to be some good filter. When it comes to the burn spells, or the ping spells, we've got 4 close combats, and I see a lot of people playing 2, playing 3, but realistically, this is your turn 2. When you're facing aggro, you pass with 2 up, they play a dummy with 2 HP, you smoke it. You draw, or you untap, you draw, and then, you know, you set up a blocker. And right then and there, you're pretty much stabilized. You get rid of one of their bodies, next turn, you're at 3 resources, level 3, you play a blocker, and already that's half the battle. Later in the game, when you have the ability to know that you're going into a turn of momentum, you can close combat at the end phase to set up the Cubile being able to burn it, to set up it being killed by Sinanju, to set up a kill with Kshatriya, and then you just continue to go on. So that's pretty cool. And then when it comes to the thicker kill spells, I do have 2 Battle of Aces here, and Battle of Aces are going to be able to burn something for 3 if they're already damaged. Once again, in phase into Battle of Aces on your turn is a solid 5 damage. The other cool thing to note here is that blocking and then having Battle of Aces ready is really insane. You can block, deal 3 damage to them or 2 damage to them, Battle of Aces it in the end phase to get rid of it fully. It's just like blockers become part of the burn. And then speaking of blockers, the last of the commands actually takes care of the rest of the blocker suite. So it looks like we have 9 blockers. Technically we have 12, and that's literally 3 of each, with Striker Pack, as you guys know, being able to make a 4/2 blocker or a 2/4 blocker, or if it gets bursted, you're going to be able to hit this. So I guess before we go into individual plays, I think something to note in this deck is that, funnily enough, almost this entire bottom row has burst. That is something that is very interesting about this deck. That is 4, 8, 16. Sorry, wow, we can't count. 4, 8, 12, 14. We got 16. We've got 20. 23 out of 50 cards have burst. This deck is almost half burst, and that's crazy. You're getting pilots, you're getting bases, or you're just dealing damage, or you're just making a blocker, and that gets pretty crazy. But yeah, like, you have a lot of good things that can come out of your shields, and so more times than not, you seem to be fairly lucky on randomly getting some damage, or getting the pilots you need, or hitting like a blocker at a base. It's just that going into your life, you never know what's going to happen, and that is one of the sackier parts of this game, but it is a part of this game, and it can't be ignored. So yeah, now we're going to go into some of the plays that I like doing, and yeah, we'll move from there. Hey guys, still watching? Thought so. And if you are, you're probably enjoying the video, so I implore you once more just to hit that like button to really help this video thrive. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you never want to miss a beat in Universe X about the Gundam card game. And like I said before, you can always join the membership, 99 cents a month, to have access to videos early, to have access to exclusive content, and to be entered into giveaways such as the one I have that I misplaced actually for Starter Deck STO6 for the next 2 days, and then after that I'm gonna have to figure out what to get my hands on between now and set 3 to do as a giveaway. If not, we will definitely be doing giveaways with whatever extra stuff we get during the set 3 and starter deck 7 and 8 era. So that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I also just wanted to say that we are doing a lot of things in Universe X, so if you'd like to do me a solid, just go over to my other channel, Universe X Media, where I play any games that don't have anything to do with card games. Give that a subscription, yeah. And then I'm trying to get my Twitter as well as Twitch to 1,000 followers so I can get better sponsorship deals, and that would be just in the description. So any follows or subscriptions to any one of those would help me out tremendously, and I appreciate all your support. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so now I want to talk about kind of what holds the deck together. I find that one of your best matchups by far is 1 Year War aggro. So far in my testing with this deck, and then the the new type challenge that I went to, which mind you, I will say, this deck went 2-2 in the only new type challenge I got into. I faced Gundam Wing and I beat it. I faced Gundam Wing and lost in a top deck war. I faced 1 Year War and I beat it, but we both started gassing out at the end. He started gassing out on pressure. I started gassing out on ways to close the game. I was just drawing defense and burn. And then I faced the Mirror, and we both end up top decking, and there was just a point where I got Striker Pack, but then I drew Striker Pack. So I couldn't really make a move. It just became bad. So yeah, I went 2-2, but literally 3 out of the 4 games came down to top decking, because that's just the way this game is right now. And this deck in particular doesn't really have a real big way to plus outside of Guadin, and even that is kind of more like a break-even filter. So when it comes to your best deck, right, I do think that aggro suffers against this deck for a multitude of reasons. One, you do have the blocker suite, and the blocker suite is just going to keep all these weenies out. A lot of these cards outside of Zewarp can end up just tanking attacks and still getting rid of a body while still being able to stay on the board. And a lot of these can go sideways afterwards. If you think they're going to die soon, you can just send it sideways and just be like, okay, we got it. So I think overall this is just a really strong, what is that? Oh no, something hurt my mat. Anywho, I think that ends up being just a really strong play when it comes to what you can and cannot do. Next, I think that the burn is going to also come into play, because this comes out pretty much on curve. Like essentially when you think that, like, this comes out on curve with these. You can deal, you can block, but you can also just burn these 2/2s off the board. So between this suite of cards, it gets really hard. But as you go through the game, it gets even harder, because like, so the Hamon cards Gaza, right? If your opponent has a 2/2, and you know, 2/2/2s have turned sideways, or maybe there's a 2/2 that's turned sideways, and you know, sometimes they'll get ballsy if they have like a Zaku 2 that is gonna go up 2 AP. They'll swing with it because they know it's gonna trade with your Zaward or Rick Diaz, and you might let it through. Well, the following turn, if you will, later in the game, or the following turn, whenever you can, if you have Hamon Karn's Gaza Sia and you play it, and then you pair it or link it with Hamon Karn, right? When paired, choose one enemy unit with that is 3 or lower, deal 1 damage to it. Ping. When paired, if this unit is red, choose one enemy unit whose level is equal to or less than this unit and ping it for 1. So you'll get rid of a 2/2, and then you can swing on that Zaku 2 with only 1 AP because it's your turn. So basically, this is also removal for low bodies. This can also get Zawarts out the way because of the 2 HP. If your opponent makes a 4/2, you can get that out of the way. This actively gets rid of quite a lot, this pairing. And of course you have Old Reliable, which is going to be Kshatriya paired with Marita, pinging 2 things, and then being able to attack and getting the 3rd ping off. But at the same time, like I said before, because this only requires a new type, cyber new type, if you play this out and you need to rip the cord immediately, you can always pair it with Hamon Karn, and you get the when paired cyber new type, ping, ping, but then you also get the when paired, if this unit is red, choose one enemy unit with whose level is equal to or less than this unit, deal 1. So you get 3 pings regardless. So you have a bit of flexibility within those plays, but this is essentially the core that makes it so hard for our 1 Year War aggro to compete against this deck. because you're not just passively playing blockers, you're actively getting rid of their board while inching yourself closer to game. So yeah, that's the core there. It makes it cool. And then as you start going to mid-range strategies, right, you start realizing that burning and damage is pretty much everything. Of course, that's the point of the game. So once again, you have the blocker suite, which can turn into damage on their own. And then, like I said before, you follow it up with this. So when you look at these numbers, anything with 5 HP, a Kira that has, well, if the Kira is already blocked, like a Kira and Strike, if it's already blocked, you can swing into it with any of these and then finish it off with, if you swing with these, you can finish it off with a close combat. If you swing with these, in most cases, you're finishing it off with a battle of aces. This is the magical line, because essentially this equals 5 damage, this equals 5 damage. Blocking with these two and following up with this is 5. Blocking with these two and following up with this is 5. Blocking with these and following up with this is going to be 6, and this is going to be, in most cases, you have in most cases you're going to have a 4. But of course, Striker Pack does turn into multiple bodies, so if you do for any reason decide to go into the 4-2 instead of the 2-4, you can change that math by having potentially 6 damage worth of block and burn, or 7 damage worth of block and burn. This just a little riskier for this to survive because of its 2 HP. So I do think that that is pretty cool. Mastering out how you block and how you can use it with your burn spells is going to be one of the most crucial skills with this deck, because when you think about it, your blockers are part of your burn. And then after that, you have your you pretty much have your links and how you push for game. Like I said, when you have Kshatriya and Marita, when you have Sinanju and Full Frontal, and when you have Kubilay and Haman Karn, this is pretty much what gets you over like the rest of the game. These are your pushers. It's important to have blockers on the board because, like I said, when you have two of these up linked, you're pretty much just winning the game off of how much advantage you push, because you're pushing face while you get rid of their cards just through effect. Now this is important because there are certain times playing this deck where I will let an attack get through to my shield or my base if it means preserving one of these blockers, so that when I land these guys, they don't instantly get killed by a revenge link. And especially against blue, where you need to hold up 2 blockers, you have to be very careful, because it's very easy for them to Amuro and just put down one of your blockers. If they have gun cannon, they gun cannon Amuro you, yeah, you're cooked. But then again, gun cannon Amuro isn't killing these. So they have to use Gundam and Amuro normally to get the rest and the swing. And if you have 2 blockers on board, they can only catch one of those, and you can block with the other one. So realistically, you just have to protect these guys, because if you can drop one and then the following turn drop another one, you're generally just going to take over the game. High key, it's just like, let's say that they swing in, right? And you're like, okay, I'm going to block with a 3-3. They're going to, like, Gundam would take 3 damage and then heal 2, right? Depending on what you had up that turn, you might have enough for a close combat. You got to see. But realistically, you do that. And if you had, like, so they heal 2. If you had Sinanju out the following turn, or the turn before, and you end up playing Kubilay, or another Sinanju, or another one of, or this, it becomes stupid, because you're able to be like, okay, swing at your shields, pop a base or shield, ping Gundam for 2. He has 3 damage because he took 3 damage and healed 1. Then you could just be like, okay, I'm gonna play out Kubilay and this, and I'll swing again and ping it for 2. It's dead. Or you could play out Kshatriya, ping, and then swing, ping it again. It's dead. Either way, you've dealt 1 damage to it with the blocker because of the repair, and then you've been able to deal 4 damage across the board by just having this and either one of these out. So protecting these is your utmost, and that is why sometimes it's okay to take shield damage if you know you're going to keep blockers up to protect your big boys the following turn. Now, the next point I wanted to talk about is going to be the burning, right? It's not, well, we all pretty much know what these cards do, right? Nobody needs to be told what these cards do. but they are your reactive cards. They are the cards that you hold for the end phase. They are the cards that you use to change the battle math, and that is why you play this deck. I do think that a lot of people are going down on close combat, or they're not even playing battle aces, and I personally just think that's incorrect. That's me. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Let me know if I'm smashing the crap out of this review. Like, you guys should be smashing the crap out of the like button. Look, don't at me. I'm just saying this is, I think, the bread and butter of this deck, and you get so much mileage off of this card. And then the last thing I was gonna say is that you really do have these pushers. I do think that when it comes to this pairing I was talking about, I do want to switch the ratios. Mainly just because this guy with the high maneuver gets me over so many blockers and opens up holes to punch those blockers. But I will also say that these two in the same hand, or on the same field, are pretty much the dynamic duo. Like, Kshatriya is good, but after the first turn Kshatriya is played, she's only doing 1 damage. So once you have these two out, you're essentially assigning just 4 damage wherever you want. And if you play these cards out and just every turn play a blocker, maybe 2 blockers, you are going to just take control of the game. Every turn, give me a shield or a base, ping that for 2. Give me another shield, ping that for 2. It's probably dead. And if it's not dead, you might have cards that you can actually deal with in your hand, such as close combat or battle of the aces, etc., etc. Now, we do have to talk about the elephant in the room. Your advantage. That's it. Neither of these cards are technically a plus. This card, you go down 1. If you have 5 cards in hand, you go down 1 card to play it. You draw 1, you draw 2, you discard 1. That is a break even, but you do get to go 2 cards deeper in your deck. You have this card, right? You have 5 cards in hand. You go down on 1 card. You draw 1 card from your life if you still have shields. Sorry, you draw a shield if you still have shields. Then, if you choose, you can stay at 5, or you can discard 1 red card to draw 1 red card. It's a break even. These are both break evens. You have no true pluses in this deck, meaning that if you miss sequence and you don't play correctly, you're just going to lose out on interactions, and you're going to just slowly start going down on hand like most decks do, because you have no way to reload. There's no show of resolve in this deck. There's no card that draws more cards than it expends to be played, and so you're going to be sitting at this point where you do start minusing pretty bad. So you have to be very careful, especially since you're running commands. You have to understand your momentum, and you have to understand how your plays affect the board, and you have to think some turns ahead to make sure that you just don't end up with no cards in hand. So yeah, that's pretty much that. If you guys want to know about the matchups, personally, like I said, 1 Year War is probably this deck's best matchup. This deck also eats mid-range decks. Like, if you face a blue-purple deck, it's pretty much GG, because they do half your work for you. You're going to just be wasting their cards left and right, and eventually they're going to run out of gas, because you're not letting a Barbados first form ever live. You're not really letting, like, Gundam just sit there and thrive. You're just kind of slapping stuff left and right. So Wing is very 50-50. They ramp, you guys both set up blockers. The only thing, though, is that when they play, when they get up to Wing 0, you might have blockers that survive with 1 HP, and that can get in the way, and those blockers will protect your burn cards. My burn cards will blow their blockers and start going into their shield. So there is a 50-50. So far, I have not ever had like a winning streak. Like, it's almost been coin flip. Like, I've won against Wing, I've lost against Wing. I've won against Wing, I've lost against Wing. So it's very, very coin flip with that. But 50-50 with one of the best decks in the format is fine, and a really good matchup into the other best deck of the format, very fine. I think this deck is a fine choice, and I will be looking to continue playing it as well as tweaking it in the future. So yeah. And that's it, guys. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the deck list, what your experience has been playing this deck, and what things you would change or what things you want to take from this deck list. I appreciate all the feedback, and we'll be getting to it. Finally, pretty much, like, this has been a rough move. I haven't taken any days off from my part-time job. I've just been moving, schmoving, and so I've been really, really spread thin. And then I have to go to Dragon Ball Super Fusion World Nats. I say it like I have to, like it's not like a cool trip. I'm saying that it's been like 2 weeks and ongoing since I moved into this new place, and I haven't had a chance to just sit down and put my feet up. So we're going through comments as fast as we can. But thank you guys. Look forward to the mono green Zeon deck gameplay coming up on the member side soon, on top of the one I already just put out for everybody on this channel. And yeah, let me know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to see. But yeah, we're going to keep going strong, and we're going to keep just churning out content until we get to more of set 3 and starter deck 7 and 8. So thank you guys, love y'all, and I will see you next time. Remember to like the video so it thrives, subscribe if you don't want to miss anything, and check out the description for everything else we have in Universe X.